The biggest storyline that's happening in the NFL right now is where Deshaun Watson is going to go.
No doubt.
It's between 4 teams that we know of: the Cleveland Browns, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, these teams believe that Deshaun Watson is making his decision tonight, which means that based on our prediction, we might all have the team we think is going to go to wrong.
We might.
And it's a shame. I wish he would make his decision right here, right now, but he's not. Because of that,
he's been hoping and praying.
I've listed out the teams that he potentially can go to, and I've ordered them from 1 to 4.
Okay.
The last team is the Carolina Panthers. I think it's a long shot he goes there, and some people may be wondering why, because they have a great defense. They have a great group of weapons. They have Christian McCaffrey. The reason why is because their offensive line still stinks. I don't think Deshaun Watson wants to go into a situation that he feels is unstable. I think Matt Rule, that coaching staff right now, is unstable. They're on the hot seat. Even if Deshaun goes to Carolina and let's say they don't make the playoffs, Matt Rule is fired. He can still get fired. I don't think it's a stable situation for Deshaun Watson. That's why I don't think it's on his list right now. Third team is the New Orleans Saints. If Sean Payton was still with the Saints, I think that would be his preferred destination. Sean Payton not being there and it being Dennis Allen instead, I think has a lot to do with what he's going to decide. You can't rely on Michael Thomas. He hasn't played. He's always hurt. If Michael Thomas isn't there, the Saints have no weapons. They only have Alvin Kamara. Their offensive line is deteriorating. Teron Armstead is probably leaving. Cesar Ruiz is not a good guard. Eric McCoy is average. The only player on that offensive line that's good is Ryan Ramczyk, and the right tackle, I'm forgetting his name. But
Ramczyk,
it'll pop up.
I thought he was the right tackle.
No, he's a guard.
He is. I think he is the right tackle. But the one thing I'll say about Michael Thomas about always being hurt, he's been hurt he was hurt last season, all of last season.
You're right.
Yes.
I'm thinking about Andres Pete. He's the left guard.
Yep. Funny enough, we just got a report from Mike Florio saying Deshaun is incredibly torn between the 4 teams. So he still hasn't made it up
Insane.
either.
But one thing I'll say about Michael Thomas, yes, he was hurt all season, but this stemmed from an injury from last season. That was the same injury just because he did not get surgery. He waited to get surgery. So I feel like the injury is resolved. It's a matter of whether he's motivated to play or not.
Yeah. I wonder how much the Saints have to trade to get Deshaun. It's probably every single team is trading 3 first-round picks to minimum, plus an impact player. I'm not sure who that's going to be, but I think the Saints, with no picks, the offense might still be limited with the weapons they don't have. They just have Michael Thomas who, you're right. That injury, it stemmed from that, but he still missed significant time over the past couple of years.
Yep.
Number 2 is the Atlanta Falcons. It's because he's from Georgia. He's from Atlanta. I think he wants to go to Atlanta because he's from there. But easily, the Falcons have the worst situation of any team that he wants to go to. Him going to Atlanta is strictly because he's from there. And maybe some magic does work out there where Arthur Smith and him could do something. Maybe they hit on later round picks that these guys become stars. It's all possible. But the Falcons are going to be in a similar position to the Texans where they're not going to have cap space, they're not going to have draft capital, and they already have a roster that lacks talent at mostly every key position. I would be shocked if Deshaun Watson is not a Cleveland Brown. And I think Cleveland is hoping for that as well. Not only because Deshaun Watson is a game changer, but because Baker Mayfield's leaving anyway. We're going to talk about Baker in a few, but Baker, for the most part, it's been reported that even if they don't land with Deshaun, he's on his way out. He's probably getting traded. Cleveland, best situation. For the first time in his career, he's going to have an elite offensive line, an elite running game. He has a wide receiver one in Amari Cooper. He's going to have the 13th ranked defense on the opposite side. They just got Chase Winovich, who's a pretty good edge rusher, opposite of Myles Garrett. That's going to be really good. The Browns, I think, are by far should be number one on his list. And they're functional. These aren't the same old Browns, kind of like the Jets. The Jets are making the turn now. The Browns made that turn. Andrew Berry is a functional GM. He's good at his job. Kevin Stefanski is one of the better coaches in the NFL. I heard, though, that the trade package that's rumored to be for Deshaun Watson, 3 first-round picks, Denzel Ward, and Nick Chubb.
Ooh.
I'm not doing that.
Jeez.
I'm not doing that.
I'm kind of surprised they would want Nick Chubb.
Why? They need a running back desperately.
They need a running back, but they need everything.
Listen, I say this as the Browns not doing it. You're getting Deshaun Watson. You're immediately getting, in my opinion, the most talented quarterback in the NFL, but in everyone's eyes, at minimum, a top 5 quarterback. So I understand this trade, but you're losing your best cornerback by far. Do they have a number 2? Greedy Williams? He's not bad. But regardless of that, Denzel is amazing.
Greg Newsome and Troy Hill.
Denzel Ward's the guy. You don't want to lose him. They would be definitely hurt at the secondary position.
The reason
Nick
why
Chubb is not a huge need, especially because running back is replaceable.
Dolphins expecting to sign Raheem Mostert.
I love that.
I'm pretty sure we called that on the show.
Yeah, dude, I love that.
the reason why they would trade Denzel Ward is because he's up for a contract extension.
And then the
price is the price that he wants is 5 years, $100 million.
Yeah,
deservingly so.
Makes sense.
But ultimately, I want to react to your list because there's a few things that stand out that I, to a degree, agree and disagree with. Him going to the Browns makes a lot of sense in terms of, if I'm Deshaun, this is what I would want to do. But on the ground level, do the Texans want to trade Deshaun Watson in conference? I have a hard time thinking that that's what would happen. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the Carolina Panthers, and you're saying the Carolina Panthers are the worst destination of the four, in your opinion. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, they have the best weapons room by far.
No. My list is predicated on where I think these teams rank for Deshaun.
This is okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm looking at the Panthers. They have the best weapons by far out of the four teams. I'm looking at it in the sense of, yes, their offensive line is relatively weak. However, you just bring in Austin Corbett. That's not a bad signing by any means. He was great with the Rams, going to come in and immediately impact. But then you already have Deshaun Watson, who's been accustomed to not having a great offensive line in his career. So it's not anything new. Now, you would pair that with CMC. You'd pair that with DJ Moore. You'd pair that with Terrence Marshall. You'd pair that with Robbie Anderson. That's exciting to me. This is a similar situation to, in my opinion, a lesser degree of my Broncos, but in a sense of they're really a quarterback away from competing. Not contending, competing. Because defensively, they have a strong nucleus as is. But offensively, they've been a quarterback away. You plug in Deshaun into the Panthers, that's extremely intriguing if I'm Deshaun Watson. Now, for the Saints, 100% agree with what you said. You don't have Sean Payton anymore. For me, this is not as entertaining of a location to go. Alvin Kamara, I think the world of him. He's fantastic. We don't know what's going to go on with his impending case right now. He was caught after the Pro Bowl, where I don't think did he play in the Pro Bowl? Something happened in a club that they just got into an altercation. Alvin Kamara, where he got into the fight.
It
was after the Pro Bowl.
I believe so.
So that's already up in the air too. You don't know what's going to go on with Teron Armstead and his contract situation. We do think that he's going to walk. However, if Deshaun goes, it's definitely a possibility that they could find a way to bring him back, even though the cap space in New Orleans is all over the place. However, they have shown that that's nothing to them. They find a way to work around it. And last but not least, we spoke about it to a degree, the Falcons already. If I'm Deshaun Watson, there's no part of me that wants to go to Atlanta. There's nothing I look at with Atlanta that intrigues me to want to go there. I understand what you're saying with him going back home. That definitely makes a lot of sense in the sense of he needs support right now in this time in his life where there's definitely people on one side or the other. One that's in the sense of it's Deshaun Watson, we don't care, we're brushing on the rug, or the complete opposite side of this guy did some heinous things or is accused of doing some heinous things. I don't know if I can ever support him. I can understand that sense of where he'd want to go into a situation that he knows people have his back.
I think Arthur Smith is the best coach out of anybody here.
Stefanski just won Coach of the Year 2 years ago.
I think Arthur Smith's a better offensive coach than him. The Falcons just won 7 games with no offensive talent.
Yeah, I think they're both good.
Yeah, they are both good.
Yeah, I agree. Arthur might be the best.
Deshaun Watson might be saying, if you can win 7 games with Matt Ryan, you can win 10 with me.
But what
you just said that came out of your mouth.
Deshaun's better than Matt Ryan. I mean,
God,
we're talking about Deshaun Watson here.
Oh, I'm dead.
It's just that I look at that roster and there's nothing that really intrigues me outside of Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
They don't have a running back. Their offensive line's mediocre. They don't have a true wide receiver one. They just lost Russell Gage to free agency. There's a lot that
He's not a true one either, though.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. There's not much going into this
They
team.
got Zacchaeus, though.
Zacchaeus isn't bad. He isn't a bad option, but he's not a
one
wide receiver
either, yeah.
one. He's barely a wide receiver two.
Yeah.
Is
Facts.
Jarvis Landry and Kyle Pitts influencing you to go?
That
No.
doesn't do much.
The only thing I will say to Juice's defense is that he got put in a situation with Baker. He definitely had some type of success with Baker. However, it would not surprise me if he goes to a better situation with a better quarterback and Juice increases his level of play. I wouldn't be surprised, but at this point in time, I think his best years are definitely behind him. So I'm not looking at a situation with Kyle Pitts and Juice that if I'm Deshaun Watson, yes, this is the team I want to go to. Mm-hmm. I can't see it other than the fact that he's going back home. The team for me personally, the Browns and the Panthers. Panthers are the most intriguing.
I have two different thoughts. One is if Deshaun is just going to choose where he wants to go, like say for whatever reason, like Texans are like, hey, we don't care. You make a decision. I think he chooses Cleveland. They have the best roster, coach, offensive line, everything makes sense. But if it comes down to this report, Deshaun is truly torn and complete hypothetical. But if it just comes down to the Texans saying, hey, they call all four teams up and say, listen, Deshaun doesn't mind going to any of you teams, so whoever makes the best offer, that's who we're going to send it to. I think at that point, I like the Carolina Panthers. And the reason I like the Panthers is because of David Tepper. David Tepper bought the team just a few years ago in 2018. He's by far the richest owner in the NFL. He's worth over $14 billion. The second most is Jerry Jones, who's around $9 billion. So ridiculous money, but even still, he's the richest and he has the most fun. It's not that salary cap obviously changes things. It's not like the MLB. But I think David Tepper hasn't put his mark on this team yet. He's someone who obviously is incredibly successful outside of football, but he hasn't had the chance to really, make a huge strike and put Carolina on the map. They traded a second-round pick for Sam Darnold last season. That's kind of just like, a rock in the lake, right? He wants to go out and make a splash. These rich people, they want to go and show everyone that they're the best. Everyone could have the most money, but can you go and win a Super Bowl? And I think having David Tepper, someone who's a brand new owner, still wants to get respect around the league and sees a very winnable division. I look at him in the Carolina Panthers. He's going to be the guy, if you even could overpay for Deshaun, he would be the one to do it. I think the Saints have had success over these last 10 years. They're saying we're a stable organization. Sean Payton has proven that, even though he's gone, that even if you don't have to go and overspend for somebody, as long as we're stable, that's good enough. And you look at Atlanta with Arthur Blank, who has been the owner there forever. And even Cleveland's a little bit different. But I just look at these other teams thinking that they're not going to be as aggressive because they've seen success in the past. While Carolina, with their new owner, hasn't seen any success since 2018. They did go to the Super Bowl with Cam, but that was before David Tepper bought the team. So I think he would be the one to tell the GM and front office, whatever they want, I don't care who we have to get up, go and make it happen. Because if you look at their defensive pieces, I think the only person off limits would be Brian Burns to me.
I think that's who they're going to want, though.
And that would hurt. But
Would you trade JC?
If it had to be done, it had to be done.
JC who?
Horn.
Oh, no.
You're not trading JC Horn?
No.
I think David Tepper is going to be the guy that would really be the difference maker here and be willing to give up a Brian Burns or a JC Horn while these other teams aren't going to be as willing to give up their key stars. And then you look around, Deshaun, I understand the offensive line isn't there, but you have CMC, who's, when healthy, the best dual threat running back in the game. DJ Moore with 3 straight 1,100-plus yard seasons with terrible quarterback play. Deep threat and Robbie. Terrence Marshall, who had a disappointing rookie season, but was still...
They got Rashard Higgins.
They got Rashard Higgins, but a third-round pick who was highly touted coming out of LSU. So,
and you throw in Deshaun Watson into that mix, all of them go crazy.
I wouldn't trade JC because Stephon Gilmore is probably not coming back. Dante Jackson is free agent. They cut AJ Boye. They don't have any corner.
I'm not saying you should. I'm saying David Tepper, out of all of these owners who at the end of the day have to make the decision to say yes or no, David Tepper to me is the guy that's going to go overboard and want to make the big splash.
I'd give them Derek Brown.
If CMC's included, you're doing it?
Oh, yeah. I'd rather give CMC than Brian Burns or JC.
I feel like CMC's the intriguing part for me if I'm Deshaun to want to come play with them. Like DJ Moore, yes, is great.
I was going to say, I think DJ Moore just because he stays healthy.
That's the thing.
DJ Moore with Deshaun Watson could have a top 5.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying in the sense of CMC, we've seen him be the best running back in football. Why, if I'm Deshaun Watson, would I want to go into a situation where if I have CMC, offensively, you can't guess what we're going to do.
Running backs don't matter.
But it's CMC. He matters. I'm Deshaun Watson. I already am a dual threat. I have one of the best arms.
CMC's best year, what was their record? 6-10?
But in the same sense of you bring in a quarterback that influences winning.
Mike Davis had like similar numbers.
Similar numbers than who? CMC? Stop it.
He played really well.
Come on.
In his absence.
Listen, you should know.
Listen, Mike Davis, fantasy legend. God bless you. That being said, it's not CMC. Not by any means.
No, we know, but running backs don't matter, bro.
And also
CMC is different.
And also the Panthers have the 6th pick. These other teams don't have a top 6 pick to offer.
Oh,
so if it comes to Houston, exactly.
Gone.
But you have a premium pick at number 6 compared to, where is Atlanta picking this year actually?
I think no.
9.
Broncos were at 9.
8.
Let me let you know right now.
But
Jets are 10. It's either 11 to 15. It's one of those.
Why do I think they're like 8?
11 through 15.
I'm pretty sure they're 8.
You think so?
I'm almost positive.
Well, Drew's searching it up. So
but yeah, so having the number 6 pick, that's going to be 8. That's going to be, the most or the highest pick in the draft.
6
Even though
to 8
it's not a big drop off, I agree. But yeah, that's one thing that we didn't know, that you would get the highest pick with Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think Carolina is the best situation, but I don't know if Deshaun is looking at it in that way. That's my main thing. But if I was Deshaun Watson, Cleveland is the most intriguing place. But also if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm like, if I go to Cleveland, I'm staying in the AFC. That's absolutely stacked. The NFC is easy.
Do you think he cares that much?
I don't know if he cares that much, but I think
if he goes to
should care
Cleveland,
that
they're the
much.
favorites to win the division.
Probably. I wouldn't disagree with you, but I think it's going to be a dogfight.
Think about how the Browns were perceived last offseason, right? We look at them on paper this season. I wouldn't say they're better than last season. They're about the same. How can we not expect Deshaun to come in and not project them higher?
I mean, these 3 teams right here, it's the Browns and the AFC, and then the rest of them are the NFC South. If he goes to Carolina, Atlanta's going to be effed up for a couple of years because they're going to be rebuilding. The Saints, that credit card bill comes due, and all these restructures are going to come back to bite them eventually. They're not going to be in the best position. Tom Brady, this is probably his last year. I know we always say that, but this is probably his last year. He's retiring. This is a cakewalk of a division and a conference if you're Deshaun Watson. And it doesn't matter what team you go to, Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans. Each of these teams, he can make a playoff team if he goes there.
Yeah, for sure.
Each of those teams.
Even
Atlanta, which I'm not high on Atlanta because they have limited talent. You hit on a couple late-round draft picks, restructure some contracts, sign some key players. They can be right in the mix of things. And, Deshaun Watson, him versus any other team in the NFL, if it's just one game, we saw him get pummeled by the Bills defense and still recover and make a game-saving play. This is this is Deshaun Watson we're talking about. So
they were up 21-0 on the Chiefs.
They blew it against the Chiefs.
28-0, right? But even still, they were up huge. Not many teams could say they did that.
The NFC for me is the place I look at if I'm Deshaun Watson. Like, I want to be there.
Get me out of the AFC right now.
Man,
unless you're Russell Wilson, people don't have that mentality to want to really go compete.
Some quarterbacks are smart about their choices, and some others, like Russell Wilson, walks into the fire intentionally just to get burnt.